Hello, hello, hello. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for another edition of the Big D podcast. Before I bring in today's special guest, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you can see all my content. NFL draft next week, so I've got a bunch of videos coming out then. And also check out the Big D podcast on Spotify and Apple. Well, for anybody living in the greater Fort Myers, Southwest Florida area, you may or may not have heard of the Florida Everblades playing just down the road from me at Hertz Arena. Well, I'm lucky enough to have one of the Florida Everblades with me today, that being Michael Neville. Michael, welcome.
Oh, thanks, Dylan. Thank you for having me. Can't wait to be on the show.
Yeah, Michael is a player with the Florida Everblades. I think you're a winger, right?
Yes, I'm a winger.
That's it. And that doesn't mean he's flying. That means he's flying on skates.
Yeah, no, I'm typically known for being a fast player. I'm not on the slow side, that's for sure. But yeah, if you want to put it that way, I can fly on the ice, that's for sure.
Hey, whether it's on two feet or two skates, you're not going to see Big D on skates. My balance isn't capable of skates.
That's okay. You're probably good at another sport. You're probably good at something else.
Yeah. So speaking of skates, do you remember the first pair of skates you ever tried on?
That's a tough one. I know growing up, we mainly used a company called Graf. I don't even know if they're around anymore. Graf. And this company was famous because a lot of NHLer players were wearing Grafs, but also they were super comfy. They were kind of like I don't know, like they molded really well to your feet and everything. The only problem that the company ran into was after a while, people realized that their skates got really waterlogged. So you imagine throughout a game, your skates getting heavier and heavier and heavier, and that was more difficult for us growing up, as those things used to get waterlogged. And then I switched to Bauer, and I've been wearing Bauer ever since.
Yeah, and not only do you have heavy legs throughout later in the game, but now your skates are heavier. And if the ice is changed throughout the game, you're really going to be jelly legged.
Yeah, exactly. No, so I've really enjoyed the Bowers, and I think I switched to Bauer when I was about 13 or 14, and I've been wearing them ever since. So I've been wearing them for the last 14 years now, almost. It's crazy.
It seems like a lot of guys like the bow skate, just simple. Simple.
Yeah, I think the Bowers have a simplicity to them, but I think they're overall the best. They don't break down very much. They're very protective, in case you block a shot or you get hit on the foot. And the boots are actually very sturdy, and you want a sturdy boot so that your feet can really pop when you're skating. So yeah, I think definitely those Bowers they're my favorite. I don't think I could switch to anything else.
So, do you remember the first time you tried actually shooting the puck?
Shooting the puck. Oof. Well, I mean, when you're born in Canada, you basically start skating when you're two. I bet you I was holding a hockey stick by the time I was 3 or 4 years old, without a doubt. I had an older brother, Justin. He played hockey, and then also my younger brother, Eric, what came after me 4 years later. He was playing hockey as early as I can remember too. So we were all kind of, again, getting back to the pond hockey. We used to play a ton of pond hockey growing up, and I mean, we're a typical Canadian hockey family, always running from rink to rink and getting practice schedules figured out. But yeah, I'm pretty sure shooting those pucks, it had to have started at a super young age, probably 4.
Do you think growing up in Canada, you think because hockey's the number one sport in Canada, you're like, I want to see if I can play hockey?
Oh, absolutely. Just like how probably football is to the United States, hockey's everything in Canada. I mean, all the big sponsors flock to hockey teams. All the biggest stadiums in Canada are all suited for hockey. It's it's just something that you're born with. Like I remember the big thing for me was when I was growing up was Saturday night we would watch the Toronto Maple Leafs games. We were huge Toronto fans, and it was on CBC, Canadian broadcast, and Hockey Night in Canada was just the greatest thing with Don Cherry, and that's how I really got kind of dialed in and glued into NHL hockey.
Yeah, Don Cherry with his checkered red suit and all.
Yeah, he's always known for his fashion, right? He always had a couple fashion statements, but yeah, it was Don Cherry and Ron McLean were the two guys we used to always see.
So, growing up in Canada, do you have any hockey role models?
Role models, yeah. This goes back a while, but I I always used to stick with the Toronto Maple Leafs guys, right? So like I grew up with Mats Sundin, Darcy Tucker, Ty Domi, Thomas Caberlet. Like these are like some of the greatest Leafs that I grew up with, at least. And if I'm even going back before that, my dad used to show me videos of Wendell Clark, and he was a former captain of the Leafs, and he was just this do everything, hit, fight, score, check, anything you ask Wendell to do, he could. And Wendell Clark is kind of a guy that I like to model my game after.
So, was there what if you could just narrow it to one player? Who would have been your favorite player? Either
Oh, my
then or
favorite.
now. Either then or now.
Then for sure it was Mats Sundin. Mats Sundin wore number 13. I wear number 13. He was the captain of the Leafs. He was this big Swedish player, great shot, leader, worked hard. I just always loved his game so much because he did a little bit of everything.
Yeah, having the guy who can play in all kinds of roles. One of the reasons why I love Patrice Bergeron with the Boston Bruins, even though I'm not a Bruin fan by any stretch, is he could play in any stretch. You need him in the face-off, power play, penalty kill, bingo, bingo, bingo. And you know what? I've seen him play for 15 years, and he hasn't lost a face-off yet.
Yeah, I know. Patrice Bergeron will probably go down as one of the best two-way centermen in hockey history. He's going to be a Hall of Famer without a question.
Yeah, I agree. And how about that perfection line at the Olympics with Bergeron, Crosby, and Brad Marchand? Nobody's getting anywhere near Crosby.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, we've always been spoiled in Canada with some great Olympic teams. The one that sticks out to me the most was in 2010 when it was in
Oh
Vancouver.
no, you're not. We are not talking about that. No, we're not talking about that final in your home area in Vancouver, no less.
Yeah, we won't talk about the golden goal. That's right.
Yeah. So what was the first time you realized you could actually play hockey? Maybe.
Honestly, growing up, I was always decent at hockey. I really didn't know, what it would do for me or the doors that it would open until I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was drafted to the OHL by a team called the Erie Otters. And at the time, I thought about playing major junior, but instead I wanted to pursue a college scholarship. So I played junior A hockey in Canada for the St. Michael's Buzzers. And then right after that, I decided to commit to Michigan Technological University, and that's where I went to college on a hockey scholarship.
It seems interesting because usually hockey players in Canada play one of the Canadian junior leagues or maybe head to a top American college, whether it be like a Michigan, Wisconsin, Harvard, Boston, Denver. have all got great hockey programs, but you went to what was it again? Michigan.
Technological University. Short is Michigan Tech. So Michigan Tech is way far up north in Upper Peninsula, Michigan.
That sounds like it's closer to Canada than Detroit.
Yeah, it is. So Houghton's about an 8-hour drive from Detroit. So it used to be about a 13-hour drive from Toronto when I used to drive up there to school. So it's much closer to Minnesota than it actually is to Lower Michigan.
Okay, so it'd be close to like Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah, so Houghton's about a 5-hour drive from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Interesting. I never knew that about you. So, as you know, hockey players need speed, check-in, toughness, a little bit of craft, a little bit of scoring. How hard do hockey players train in the off season and then during the season?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. So they're two very different things. In the off season, you definitely spend less time on the ice and you want to spend more time at the gym. And a lot of it is core exercises, core stability. And then there's also a lot of leg lifting that you do. So, you're talking your squats and your deadlifts and your jumping. And then as the summer progresses, kind of when you start getting closer towards training camp, that's when you start hopping on the ice again and, working on skills, working on speed, those kinds of things. And then during the season, I mean, in pro hockey, it's pretty crazy. Like we probably only get to lift. You're probably only in the gym once or twice a week because, I mean, we're playing 3 or 4 games a week, and that's already really tough on the body. So in the summer, you're mainly in the gym, and then during the season, obviously, you're mostly on the ice.
Is there one exercise we all have that one exercise that gets us? Is there one exercise you hate doing?
Hate doing? Oh, that's a tough one. Because I most guys don't like doing legs, and I love doing legs, but
I love doing legs. I love doing legs. I can't do shoulders.
yeah, I don't. But see, the thing is, with upper body too, I love chin ups and I love bench. I love squatting and I love deadlifts for lower. I guess when you're talking about the single leg stuff, that's where it can get kind of difficult. Or
Oh,
there was another thing we used to do in college. We used to do a running test called the shuttle run. And for anybody out there from Michigan Tech, they know what the shuttle run is. We're running on a basketball court back and forth, and a lot of guys used to throw up during that. So probably the shuttle run I don't want to do anymore.
hey, you know what? I run 5Ks. If you right up my alley, I'll do that. So so throughout the course of a game or season, hockey players block pucks. Do you feel anything after blocking a puck?
Oh yeah, that's actually one of my specialties. The equipment manager for the Florida Everblades, John Sellers, he's an awesome guy. This year he ordered me a pair of skates that have shot blockers that come on them on the side. Maybe I'll send you a picture of them tomorrow when I get to the rink so you understand what I'm talking about. But it's basically the stick padding on the side of the skates. So when you turn sideways to block a shot, if you get it off the foot, especially, it won't feel as bad. But blocking shots does hurt, but it's also part of the game, and your teammates love you for it.
And your coaches love it because you're sacrificing yourself. I mean, you're not the biggest guy. You're 6 feet, so I mean, you've got to lean out a leg or lean out a pad somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, even though I sure hope the NHL's not watching this, although I would love it. So it seems, even though fighting has gone down, seemingly every time I see a game at Hertz Arena, the crowd really enjoys fights.
I I I have no issue with fighting, and I bet you any hockey player will tell you that.
Unless they're fighting somebody, unless they're fighting I mean, if Tom Wilson's find one of these tough big guys, let him go at it.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I don't know. I think I have 6 fighting majors this year. Yeah, I think I had my 6th on Saturday night, the last game when we clinched the division against Atlanta. But it's a part of the game. I think a lot of people who aren't involved in hockey. I mean, it is barbaric. Don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of people who don't have a full grasp or of understanding of the game won't get the fighting aspect of it. But it's a good way to show your teammates that you care. It's a good job to stick up for your teammates, and I mean, and some guys are just really good at it. So
Who's the biggest guy you've ever fought?
the biggest guy I've ever fought. Um, that's a good one. I'm not sure. Um, I have fought some tough guys though. Like this year, I fought on Saturday night. I fought Josh Thrower on Atlanta. He's a pretty tough guy. Um, and then I've also fought Steve Alexi twice this year. And Steve Alexi played in the NHL for a while there. He was on the Orlando Solar Bears this year. So those are probably 2 pretty tough guys this year that I fought that know what they're doing.
I've always wanted to know, what do hockey players eat between periods, because I've heard a lot of people answer what they felt like hockey players ate between periods, especially if you're in like third period or overtime of a big playoff game. So what do hockey players eat in between periods?
Yeah, it's a personal preference. Like for me, I prefer eating before the game. I don't really eat during games. I just don't have the appetite for it. Like some guys feel tired and they feel like they have to eat. For me, I drink a lot of water, and I drink a lot of water with electrolytes in it. So we have these electrolyte tablets that you throw in the water and they kind of fizz around for a second and then you drink those. Those are my favorite, but yeah, during games I can't eat. My stomach's just shut off. I can't eat at all during games. And then if I look around the room, I see some guys that eat oranges, they eat bananas, granola bars. Yeah, those are really the kind of the 3 big ones that people eat.
I've heard rumors I'm not sure if it's true today, that guys used to eat pizza between periods, and I'm like, is that true?
Yeah, probably back in the day, I could imagine. It wasn't too long ago in the NHL where, it was crazy where guys used to, drink beer and eat pizza in the room and smoke cigarettes on the bench and stuff like that. So I think the game's changed a lot in that aspect. There's definitely nobody smoking cigarettes on the bench anymore.
Let's just say this: the cuisine has gotten way better.
Yeah, yeah. Nutrition's come to the forefront now.
Yeah. Instead of pizzas, it's protein balls.
Yeah, exactly.
So, funny story. If you see my friends Lori and Ryan's sailor, Mike actually works for them before I'm doing, and then in the off season.
Yeah, I love it. I'll forever be grateful to Lori and Ryan for giving me the opportunity to work for their company. Nathan Perkovich does it as well for our team. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. It's definitely hard work, but I'll always be thankful because he's taught me so much. And it's just nice having a steady job in the off season now, which is fun. And you know what? And I love the team at RDS too. Everybody's good people, and all they want to do is teach you and help you out.
Yeah, and just having positivity goes a long way nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so business talk now. So for your Blades fans, Mike and company will be in action starting tomorrow with the Kelly Cup playoffs getting underway. You play the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Yes, Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Whoever came up with half these teams in the
Yeah,
ECHL.
yeah, that's a wild name. That's a funny one.
Yeah, I can get Blades. I can get some. I can get, I think like Orlando's team, the Solar Bears.
Yeah.
But Swamp Rabbits, that's not a hockey team. That sounds more like a basketball team.
Yeah, you should take a look at their symbol too. It's pretty funny. It's a rabbit holding a carrot stick. It's pretty funny.
Well, we just went through Easter.
Yeah, there you go.
So obviously last year didn't go well, loser in the first round. So you think the Blades can make a deep run, get the top seed this year, but we've seen top seeds go down. What do you think I can't even the Swamp Rapids will show tomorrow? Because it's gonna be a tough battle, and these guys.
Yeah, no, you're right. Definitely the league's been pretty tight this year. I think in previous years, we had clinched first place with some games and some time in hand, but I mean, out of Greenville tomorrow, I think we're going to see a fast team, a heavy hitting team, a team that likes to get under your skin. And I think from our standpoint, the most important thing is you can't get thrown off your game. You have to go out there, you have to play, you have to perform, you have to do everything that you've learned and you've done properly throughout the year that's gotten you to this point. And also, in terms of our team, I really like this team. I think we have a good group of hardworking character guys that are ready to go to war for each other, and that's what the playoffs are. It's a war.
Yeah, and I feel like you almost look at the playoffs as a new season because everybody's 0-0, because you might be better man for man, team for team, but if one team's better 4 out of 7, I think it's 4 out of 7 in all the rounds, right?
Yes, correct. Best of 7 series.
Then you can win. I mean, who would have predicted the Columbus Blue Jackets sweeping the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-0, 2019, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 19. It was pretty crazy.
That still pains me as a Bolt fan to this day.
Yeah, but you've had some good years lately. Me, not so much. Toronto Maple Leafs fan. We haven't won a cup since '67.
Oh gosh. Yeah. It looks like the Bolts and Leafs might play in the first round.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless the
We'll put a
Bruins
wager on it.
Unless the Bruins mess it up and then one of us is playing the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
So for your Blades fans, last time Florida won the Kelly Cup was in 2012, and I was actually at that game. It was overtime, and we won in a couple minutes in overtime. And I don't think I've ever heard Hertz Arena louder for a hockey game, basketball game, or concert. How would it feel like to hoist the Kelly Cup in a few weeks?
It would be everything. It really would be. At every level I've played at, I've always had success in the playoffs. In junior hockey, I won a championship with the St. Mike's Buzzers. And then in college, I won a championship with the Michigan Tech Huskies. So I'm still looking for my Kelly Cup and my first professional championship. And I think this year is the team that's going to do it.
I like the confidence, not cockiness, but confidence in you, Mike. So thank you for hopping on. We wish you and the Blades well in the Kelly Cup playoffs. And if you need to deliver a hit, send a message, do it, but do it legally and in professional manner. And always stick up for your teammates.
Awesome. Thanks, Dylan. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.